Greetings. Peace, everybody. Welcome to Community Radio. I'm Kim, and we're back today, Thursday, with another topic. As you heard in the commercial before the show started, it gave you some information on how to get involved with Anu Nation. If you're interested in taking classes or need a reading, you know where to go. The classes are on seduluhouse.com. And as soon as you go to seduluhouse.com, there's a pop up box that will come up where you can schedule a reading. All right. So that is how you get involved. We also have the Anu Nation app now that's on Android. You can download the app and really you can get to just about everything from that app. You can buy the books, the classes, you can view your classes on that app. Um, you can chat with other students. There's a lot there, so make sure you download the app if you have an Android phone. The Apple version will be out a little bit later, so there'll probably be an announcement when that will come out. But anyway, today the topic for today was why can't women get along? And again, this is an open forum, but usually we kind of just start the show off with something just to get the ball rolling. And we picked this topic. This topic was chosen today because of, just in the past month with all the talk about relationships, men and women, interracial relationships, women submitting, all this stuff. Like we've had like a lot of comments to come up on the YouTube videos, and a lot of them were not so good, not so nice. So today we kind of wanted to talk about it, and I had two other ladies that are going to come on with me and discuss this a little bit more in depth and see if we can come up with some solutions, as well as I think some of the ladies from the women's group may call in and add their comments as well, because this is something that we talk about frequently in the women's group, or we have talked about quite a bit just throughout the month. And one of those ladies, let's see, I'm waiting for one lady to call in. She's not here just yet, but I'm going to go ahead and bring in Sister Michelle. Peace. Michelle, how are you today?
I'm doing very well. How about you, Sister Kim? How are you?
I'm okay. Things are going. So yeah, what do you have to say on this topic so far? Again, I was saying it came about because of some of the comments and things that were displayed on some of the YouTube videos just in the past couple of months. And it's a huge problem, for many reasons. And, we'll get into some of those reasons a little bit later. Women just seem to have, and I'm not going to say just Black women or white women or whatever. This is like a problem with women in general. And because, as I was doing more research on it, I find that this is a problem everywhere. And I just wanted to kind of get your feedback on why you think it is, and have you experienced some of this yourself? What is it about women that just upon initial meeting, that we just kind of just automatically just kind of hate on each other or just attack each other, verbally or, with our mannerisms or eyes or attitude or whatever, we just kind of just initially just don't like each other.
Well, I've been thinking about this a lot because we've been talking about it in the women's group that you said, and I've mentioned a lot of things that I can expound on later, whether it be relationships with your mother, relationships with the other women in your family, how they teach you when you're growing up, especially during that sensitive period of like puberty. For women, it's such a hard, and I think you kind of learn everything from that point. But I want to get your opinion on this thought, because when two women do get into a room and there's a lot of men there, the ferocity of the aggressiveness is so obvious. It's like a
Right.
huge competition. So
Mhm.
do you think it's because we're so masculinized? Because like when men, I've seen when men like want to get the attention of a woman, they kind of compete each other too. But I feel like it's a little bit more accepted, like they're okay with the competition, whereas women, I don't think we're
Mhm.
naturally built for that. You know, we're
Yeah.
more built for unity. So it's kind of weird, but I don't know if that has to do with it because um, if you really look back in the olden days of any era, women were kind of more united. So like
Mhm.
when women would go, say, to when all the women were ready to procreate, the tribe or the community presents them all together.
Yeah.
So there's like this like sisterhood unity, but now it's almost like every woman's out for themselves, and they're trying to get a husband. They're going
Mhm.
about it the wrong way, so they don't know that. So then once a woman comes in and she's a little bit confident in herself, a little secure, it's like a vicious all-out attack.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, hang on just a second. I'm going to bring in our other caller. For everybody listening, I'm going to bring in another caller. This is Sister Lola, and she was she made one of the comments earlier on in the show. Peace, Sister Lola.
Please,
That I kind of that I kind of picked apart a little bit just to kind of show where just to kind of show where some of where we kind of go wrong in some of our dialogue. But I know, like, even in a previous show where one of the women called in that made some really horrible comments, came on, it was like initially kind of going back to what Sister Michelle was saying, that like all the men, ooh, 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 it was just kind of hyping it up a little bit before any dialogue even started because they kind of knew the background a little bit. And it was like they just kind of wanted to see a cat fight or hear a cat fight. And just so you know, everybody listening, like that's not going to happen today. I've had a chance to speak with Sister Lola. We spoke over the past weekend and have gotten to know each other a whole lot better. We had a really great conversation. So I'm so glad we had that opportunity to do that. I did reach out to the other sister, but I never heard back. So maybe she'll call in, maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, Michelle, just what you were saying about, our attitudes as far as, when men are in the room, and it's like, the claws come out then because it's like some type of instinct that kicks in where we feel like we have to compete with the other woman for attention. And like you were saying, this is something that's kind of wired in us, or programmed into us, even as, in our adolescent years. I think it's very true because, as women, you kind of, you know, a couple of the things I think is part of the problem is women are like two of the biggest concerns for women, I think, are love and security. We talked about that on the show. Women need love, men need respect. And love and security is two of the biggest things. And so I think that when we kind of compete with each other or put each other down in the presence of other men, or, just initially just kind of hate on each other, I think it's some of that that kicks in because we feel like if I don't grab the attention of this man, or if I don't hurry up and try to secure a husband or whatever it is, like I won't be cared for and I won't have any security. So it's almost like a survival thing that just kind of kicks in. So whoever steps in the way of that, we're just going to annihilate them. Even if, so much so that, like, even if the threat is not even real, even if this other woman is not even competing like that, we'll still do it. And, Sister Tasha gave us an example of that in the women's group on Monday with a woman she had an encounter with. And so, I think think it's a lot of that, and we're introduced to men. I don't say men. We're introduced to young boys early on, like in this, just coming into kindergarten or pre-K, and it's like we never have that time to ourselves, just as a group of women, to really kind of develop ourselves, or to find out what our talents and gifts are, and to nurture them so that we're not so jealous or, competitive or insecure. I think that has a lot to do with it. What do you all think? Sister Lola, I know you're just coming in. Did you catch any at the beginning?
A little, the tail end of it.
Okay. So we were just saying, Sister Michelle brought up the fact that, as women, it's like something changes in us when there are men in the room. we already kind of have this little thing between women, before, but it's like once a man enters the room, like men handle this differently. If they're competing for a woman, like they can handle the competition a little bit better, or they just deal with it differently. But for women, it's like we have to automatically like just try to put this other woman down so that we can kind of stand out, or, all these different things. And I think it has to do with just that, like I said, trying to secure resources, or trying to make sure that, you have something. I don't know. What do you think?
I think what you said is a colorful, brilliant way to say something that might, I guess, come across to people as, at least the way it could be said, could be a little demeaning, because the way I would see that is more of a primal nature sort of thing, in which individuals that are still acting in that way, you can just tell that from maybe an evolutionary standpoint, that they haven't really progressed, versus, let's say, a group of people, a group of women that is not an issue. It's like not a thing for them. They're on to bigger and better things, or maybe things that have more to do with non-physical gatherings of stuff. Because when I see a woman fighting, at least in her mind, for her security, in a sense, you can liken that to what people understand as, ancient man before the intelligent state, trying to basically say, well, I don't want no other woman around me and my kids, because, if he goes with her, I'm going to be left out in the wilderness with me and my kids. So I got to fight for that. And that's, in a sense, almost animalistic. But I'm not going to put it down, because, of course, the animal kingdom, is not to be put down in the way that, well, it shouldn't operate like that. But as humans, when we're operating like something we're not, in reality, it's counterproductive or counterintuitive. So like when you're saying, well, when that happens with us, it's not helping us.
No.
It's bringing us to the point where we're like, wait a minute, something's literally wrong here. Whether or not we can put a label on it or not, we can sense something's wrong. And that only comes from individuals that have progressed, at least psychologically, past that point of, survival. Right. But see, it gets a little tricky with that, because you'll have people that will act in that capacity, and then the conversation will be, well, I don't need, a man for security. I don't need a man for anything. And, I can do this and I can do that. But like, that's what's coming out of their mouth. But in the same breath, or maybe in the same act, while they're saying that, they're in this state as if they're extremely overly dependent on the man. So again, it's like, it's like that double talk, or that double action that is basically keeping the person stagnant, because they're not moving forward. And if they are moving anywhere, it's moving backwards. And in a room full of, well, not full of, but in a room where there's men, the way you act as a woman would be different, just simply based on that stimulus. I mean, people really got to be honest with themselves. Like, why is it that is causing you to act that way? And in reality, if you know that, well, this is causing you to act that way, well, is it beneficial for you? Because typically now I'm not a man, so I don't know, but when men see women act this way, I I don't see it as being something attractive, strangely.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
it's like that can be something that repels, men in their thinking
Right.
when they approach women. So, yeah, and it looks on the onset, it looks like a cat fight and it's entertainment.
Mhm.
But
Right.
what real man wants to see someone he wants to further his seed with in that entertainment type of
Right.
situation. Like nobody really wants to see that. So it is
Mhm.
counterintuitive when it comes to finding a mate, as if to say, well, I have to fight for my mate, and that's how I'll
Mhm.
show a man that, well, I'm one that he should mate with. In reality,
Right.
it's working right in the opposite way. So,
Mhm.
I mean, what you said is
Yeah.
like, given it's you trying to respect people, like in the sense of, well, listen, you might not want to hear it so bluntly in terms of what you look like, and I'm gonna be nice, but
Yeah.
in reality, you animalistic. Like that's just kind of what it is. You try to be nice and say, listen, this is what you're supposed to be doing, but I mean, it's maybe some people need to hear it in a more intelligent way versus someone coming up and
Mhm.
say, "Listen, you're acting like an animal, man. You're beneath an animal.
Mhm.
Like animals got a reason to
Mhm.
do this. What's your excuse?" Like
Yeah.
that might not work, but I mean, the idea going forward is like, yes, we gotta check this because
Yeah.
it's like a silent problem, and we're not even almost not even aware of it until people
Mhm.
come in and cause that sense of contrast to say, well, listen, wait a minute. If this is what we're
Mhm.
supposed to be doing, why isn't it producing anything? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like it's a simple thought, but you'd be surprised. Like a lot of people, and I'm inside that box too, that have to come to the point of aha, and be like, wait a minute, that is a thing here. Like, why haven't I thought about that? Like
Mhm.
why isn't this working for me? And it might not necessarily be that for me. It might be something else for me, but for a lot of people, yeah, it's that. Like, I mean, a good portion of the population. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and
Well,
like the videos and the exposure of it now
mhm.
is turning into something else
Yeah.
too.
That's what I was
Yeah.
just about to say because it's so hard because we had another show where we were talking about what men really want from women, and Sister Tasha brought up some points where I think we were talking about how women look and how we dress, like where they were saying that men don't. Well, the men were saying they really don't want the plastic woman, with the implants and the silicone butt and the hair and all this other kind of stuff. But everything around us that we see is telling us that that is what they want. So
Hmm.
even in situations like this, is like we keep saying like that is not attractive to men. But even, just like I said earlier, when Nancy called the show, or Made from Love called the show that time to speak on and to apologize about what she said, instantly the men were just like, ooh, ooh, oh, so it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, they say they don't want this and they say it's not attractive, but there's so much attention that gets brought to it. Even talk shows, TV shows, radio, everything. There's songs about girl fights. It's just so hyped up, to watch two women go at it. And so I don't know where that's coming from, but it's like we're getting so many mixed messages that it's like,
Hmm.
well, what is it really? What how do men really feel about this? What does it look like? Because we say that, but you know, our actions say something else. Even I've noticed, and you all have probably noticed, that even with these shows on enlightenment and transformation, like the shows that we do on family, the shows that we do on trying to improve ourselves, all that kind of stuff, gets the lowest amount of views. The show that we did on interracial relationships, why we can't get along, why we hate each other, black men and white women, all those shows got thousands of views. and
Mm.
hundreds of comments. So it's like those are the things that we are showing that we like. But we keep saying out of our mouths, no, that's not what we want. It's unattractive when women do that, but that's not what you're showing. You know what I mean? So it's like, again, going back just to trying to secure those two things, being cared for, being loved, and having some type of security. It's like, when your words are saying one thing, but your actions are showing us something else. So it's like we're trying to find, well, how do we go about this? How do I not, how do I get attention without, uh, seek just overtly seeking attention? Some women are very, loud. Some of them are very, confrontational with other women. Some women, just kind of let it all hang out as far as, the way they dress. And we try to outdo each other like that. Like, let me push my breast up even higher. Let me wear some tighter pants. Let me just show up this other woman next to me. Because if one is like really demure and the other one is just kind of all out there, men say that that's not what they want. And they want a woman that covers up and all this other kind of stuff. But who are the men circled around when that is the case? You know what I mean? So again, it's like, we kind of give mixed messages. And, Sister Michelle was talking about just even as little girls, we kind of go through this. And I say it's because we never really cultivated, what we're good at, or we don't have, any esteem about ourselves. So we try to zoom in on those things that we think will get us the attention and that will get us the security. You know what I mean? To try to emphasize. And so maybe those are the wrong things, but that's what women are going after. And so as a result, we're just kind of, cutting each other down. You know what I mean? We really don't get a chance to form any real friendships or sisterhoods, or we're trying to form some sort of friendship after the damage has been done. It's like, now we got to start from this horrible place because that was our initial meeting. That was how we initially met. I don't know, Sister Michelle, did that answer your question a little bit, or do you have anything to say?
Yes, it does answer my question, and it totally. I just want to tie it into what Chief is talking about this month about culture and how a culture can bring the best out of you, or can keep you in your worst. So Sister Lola brought up a good point that the attitudes that we do take, that we see women in this culture take on shows or however, even in our family, are of the animalistic nature. There's nothing put in place for women to cultivate, all those sciences that we need to be, comfortable in our womanhood. So, I just talked about, I feel like it just brings the point back again that we have to divest from the culture that is not, bringing us to that higher state, and is just keeping us in a very low animalistic vibration. But we have to do it, just like Chief said, right? That, if we talk it and talk it and talk it, and we don't do it, people are not going to pay attention to us. And they'll be like, oh, okay, whatever. Yeah, she had talked a lot of talk, but she's still, acting like a child or whatever. So, I think it's better to personify it first, and then let people see how we do things, and then talk about it. Because then they'll want to listen. Because like, oh, this sister has it going together. She has, her children are happy, or they're all secure, however it may be, and then they'll learn.
Yeah. I just want to let everybody know that's on the line, the number to or listening from other sources. If you want to chime in and comment, just press the number 1 and I'll bring you in. The number to call in is 515-605-9862. And so we're talking about why women can't seem to get along. I'm going to bring in a caller real quick. This is 618. Greetings.
Hi, greetings.
Greetings.
Yes, I was listening to everything, and I just feel like you guys are right on point with everything that I've been thinking, everything that I've been working on myself in the community that I have. And I'm the oldest in my family, and there's 5 of us, 4 girls and 1 boy. And there was a little bit of that kind of chaos going on between us, and I decided myself to take control, so to speak, quote unquote, for lack of a better term, of the environment and try to get us some togetherness as women. Because I saw when I was young, my grandmother, she had that community. You know, there were a lot of women on her block, and she was the youngest on the block, you know, and she took care of all the women. She would go and visit them, cook for them, and, you know, just be like this champion for her community. And it was just like so awesome to see as a child. So looking at that as a kid and coming up and looking at my environment and, you know, how me and my siblings were for a while, it was like, no, you know, this needs to be eradicated. You know, and I tried to do that in my community with, you know, my female friends, and that some of them weren't, you know, excited about it. So, you know, they eventually vanished or went away. But the ones who were interested in building a sisterhood and a community for women, you know, understood it. And, you know, we're still growing together. There's still a little bit of that cattiness here and there. You know, but we still come together and try our best to build a healthy environment for the women because, you know, like a lot of the elder men say, you know, if a community is sick, it's because the women are sick. You know, we have a lot of issues going on with us individually as well as a community as a whole, and we need to get together and stick together and create that bond in order to build one another. You know, I had just had a conversation with a young lady, and I said, she's like, oh my God, she's like, I never had someone just come up to me and tell me how beautiful I am. I said, because you are, you know, and if you see someone and you see that light or you see that energy, why not comment that person or you know, because we need each other. You know, we are all we have in this world and in this universe, and if we can't build each other up and promote each other, what are we really doing in our life? You know, we look for the answer outside or externally, but we are the answer. And we have to do it one by one, but with each encounter and, you know, move forward from that instead of trying our best to figure it out. And, you know, if people aren't willing to listen, hey, they can fall to the wayside, but eventually they'll come back full circle. And I've seen that as well, you know, but I'm really working. I'm not saying I'm perfect. You know, I'm a work in myself. You know, but I try my best to put my best foot forward. And I can say that I've always had this energy about myself to not be in competition with the woman next to me. I always encourage her, no matter who she is, her flaws and all, love her unconditionally and say, hey, girl, you know, you are the best thing going right now. And, you know, bravo to you. And for that, I have been shunned. I have been... you know, ridiculed, you know, wronged and all kinds of stuff. You know, I can't stand her because everybody likes her. Oh, I don't like her because she's always smiling. Oh my God, I don't like, you know, just a ton of things. But through it all, I've maintained a positive personality and try my best to, you know, kind of be a champion. Not saying that I want to be, but just taking on that position as a growing elder or a wise one, so to speak, as far as my community or my tribe is concerned, and trying to build that. And, you know, I just want us to love on each other because we've lost a lot of family members in a very short period of time. And it's like, hey, I just told my family recently, all we have is each other.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
That's so true. Even, you know, something. One of the points I kind of wanted to bring out too is that something you said about just needing each other. I don't
Mhm.
think women really realize how uh, important that is. Because,
Mhm.
even when we're talking about just relationships between men and women and how sometimes we direct that anger towards the men, it's like we don't really realize that most of the hurt and most of the insecurities and things that we have about ourselves were projected on us by other women.
This is
And
true.
as children, this is where
Mhm.
it started. Before men even entered the picture, we were probably hurt by another woman. And as women, like we soak up everything in our environment. We are that energy that brings, we take in everything. We're like cups, we soak it all up and there's no filter. Like we're not filtering things out, as children, we take it all in. And so sometimes like when those things are projected onto us, or when we are hurt by other women, we don't maybe we don't, as because children get over things pretty quickly. Maybe they don't harp on it, but it's still down in there. You know what I mean? It's still hard to kind of process that and get it out of our systems, and so we kind of carry that into adulthood. We still carry those insecurities, and it's like every person that we come into contact with, we're trying to prove to them and everybody else that I'm not that. I'm not that. So we kind of project those insecurities on other people. You know, um, it's so deep. I tell you, you know what I mean. But like you said,
Oh yeah.
I just don't think we realize just as women how much we need it, because something else we talked about in the women's group is just going through these different phases of development as women. You have the maiden, the mother, the enchantress, the crone, all these different stages. And nowadays, just in American culture and dealing with some of the mess we have here, we don't have those elder women or those sisters to kind of help usher us into these different stages of our life.
Mhm.
We don't have that woman to say, okay, now you're of this age, these are the things that you may be experiencing. These are some of the physical changes you're going to go through. These are some of the experiences you may have. You're not crazy. Like most women go through this, and you have support. You have women there to kind of help you through it. Like we don't have that anymore. And so we have so many women that are just kind of just going through it and they don't know what to do. And so, you have the older women competing with the younger women. The younger women don't like the older women. It's just this endless, kind of circle of just, like I said, just kind of hate and spite and jealousy and insecurity. And it just never stops. It never stops. When we all really want that, we want that big sister. We want somebody to hug us or to love us or to say, like you said, you are beautiful, you are talented, you do have some good qualities about yourself. Because we don't get it. We don't get it, or maybe we were, kind of shut down as children.
Mhm. And I was
Yeah.
the I was always around my grandmother. Like I would always like
Mhm.
hang on her skirt tail. Every time the
Mhm.
other children be like, where is she at? We know where she's at. She's in there with grandma. It was it would be me, my grandmother, and her best friend, and we would be, shucking the corn or
Yeah.
snapping peas or doing
Yes.
something, or getting cutting, chopping up, breaking up the greens with our hands, or
Mhm.
back then I would help her till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning at 9 years old, helping her clean chitlins. This
Mhm.
this whole thing, I was always like my grandmother's greatest supporter. No matter what she was
Mhm.
doing, I was trying to help her do something. Her or my grandfather. And
Yeah.
it's like that old saying, if there are five men in the room, the little guy is the next man. There was, two
Mhm.
old women always around me. I was the next old woman. So it was like that little old soul that was just this little and always around 40 and 50-year-old women at an early age, all the way
Yeah.
up into my 20s. I always had like a 50-year-old woman around me because it's just,
Mhm.
it's a walking encyclopedia. And I appreciated that. You know, they didn't know a lot of the things like you're just discussing, about trying to teach, trying to develop or guide the young lady, but they had something that I would watch to learn. I would pay
Mhm.
attention to. I would be a sponge in the room, soaking them up, for information and things like that. And they would learn from me as well, and that's
Mhm.
the community that you always want to have a room full
Right.
of generational women, from the baby
Mhm.
all the way up into the 90-year-old grandmother. You need
Right.
that in order for everybody to know, hey, we are all one, we're together. When you look at me, you see yourself. When I look at you, I
Yes.
see me.
Mhm.
And we need to share that energy and not feel like we're robbing and stealing each other of our energy in a negative perspective or
Mhm.
sense. We need to
Mhm.
put in our mind that we are building each other and not trying to claw and tear and clamor at one another for one piece of space that we all share.
Right. Right. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Just as
You're
a
welcome.
woman coming listening to some of the things you said, how do you handle say like maybe a younger woman coming to you, or if she just initially comes up to you in a negative way, when if she's just, she comes to you, maybe she asks something that's completely rude or disrespectful, or um just off the bat, like just her initial contact with you, how do you handle that?
There was a young lady at my job who just recently did that. And I had to learn through, I was a cosmetologist for a long time. So, of course, I was around women of all ages.
Hmm.
And the ones who would challenge me most would be either really, really young or the older ones, that you're
Hmm.
not my mom or you don't tell me what to do because I'm older than you type of thing. But the ones that
Okay.
were in my age range, they will be more like, okay, what can I learn from you type of situation. So with the
Hmm.
younger ones, it was more or less like, you're not my mom type of thing. It's like, oh, okay. You know, I would write them up type of thing. And after me not physically, verbally attacking them, they would understand, oh, she's working in my best benefit. And I would still show
Hmm.
them love. I would
Hmm.
write them up because that was what I had to do. But I would still, hey, let me teach you this. Let me show you this. Because
Hmm.
I would always, for some odd reason, I would call it the ancestors just laying on me,
Hmm.
just once again having that old soul about myself. I would see something about them that needed to be nurtured. Oh, this person
Yeah.
is this, or this person is that. I would always
Hmm.
be able to see their makeup when I look at them. It's like
Mm.
you never had
Okay.
that discipline coming up. You never had discipline coming up. You never had someone to tell you that this is wrong, that's not right. They never
Right.
had someone that would discipline them and love on them at the same time. Because if I could do one, I'm supposed to do the other. I can't work in
Mm.
one construct and not work in the other. You can't give someone constructive criticism negatively and not build them positively at the same time. So if I'm having a
Yeah.
conversation with you, I'm letting you know you were wrong. You're not supposed to do that. But I'm still going to
Mhm.
teach you. I'm still going to love on you. I'm still going to give you the tools that you need in order for you to grow. I had another young
Mhm.
lady in my recent job. She came up to me and she just walked up to me and just started talking in a real aggressive manner. And I said good morning, and she's like, what? I said happy Monday. And she's like,
Yeah.
good morning. I said, okay. I said, what's your name? And she told me her name. I said, well, my name is, blah, blah, blah. And she said,
Mhm.
oh. I said, now, what was your question? acknowledge my presence before you come and talk to me, young
Yeah.
lady. This is a lesson that I'm teaching her, but I'm not giving it to her while I'm I don't have to be a man at her face. I could be a demure woman. I could be a lady at every minute of the hour and still get my point across to you. But that was something that I had to learn. You know, and in that learning, you have to be able to teach that to others and not feel like that person is coming at me. It's a personal attack. No, it's not. You don't know what that young lady's life was like yesterday. You don't know what she had to go through last night. You don't know what she went through this morning before. It's like the element of surprise. Throw her off her mark. I'm going to get your mind off of what we're talking right now in order to bring you back full circle to the person that you are, because I know that there's some good inside of you, and I want to squeeze it out.
That's so beautiful. Yes. Yes, I like what you said, how, you know, you just had to kind of back the conversation up a little bit. Let's slow down, pump the brakes. Hi, how are you? You know, good morning, you know, or whatever. Because, you know, a lot of times, you know, something as simple as that, you know, just greeting a person, we're really not even used to doing that, you know, or having someone to say that to you. I know I grew up around a lot of women that were like that. Like, it would just instantly just go in on the attack, or just whatever it is they're saying, never pausing to say, how are you today? How are you feeling? Or, you know, or whatever, just before we get into whatever it is we're getting into. And so it's something as simple as that. Like, I don't think a lot of women get, and of course they don't give it. So just don't know how. And then especially we're in this age now, this social media age, you know, where communication is even further undeveloped. We really don't know how to talk to each other. It's like we talk to each other like we're posting something on Facebook. You know, we just blurt it out. It just comes out. There's no greeting. There's no filter. There's no anything. We just come out with it. We just make statements. You know what I mean? And so, I think that's. So, what are you?
I was raised like that. I was raised like that. You know, my grandmother. We would be walking down the street, like after we would have dinner at night. My grandparents would take all the grandkids, you know, because we loved hanging out with grandma and grandpa, because they were like the coolest. And we would hang out after we finished dinner. Grandma and grandpa would take us, and we would walk around the block, you know, walk our food down. That's what grandma say. We're going to go walk the food down. Come on. So we would walk around the block. Some guy would pass by, and grandma say, hey, how you doing? And I say, and he'd say, hey, I'm doing fine. All right, y'all have a good night. And I say, grandma. And she say, yes, baby. I say, who is that man? She said, baby, I don't know. I said, well, why are you talking to him? You told me. She said, baby, let me tell you something. I say, yes, ma'am. She said, if you see somebody that looks like you, that's got brown skin, you speak to them. You greet them. You acknowledge their presence, because their presence is just as valuable as yours. And that has always stuck with me. I was at the gas station about a couple weeks ago, and a young man, I'm at the ice machine because I just eat ice all the time. And a young man was like, I'm working on this board thing. Oh, yeah.
You know what? I do the same thing, and I've been doing it a lot lately.
And I know I have to take my B12 vitamins, but you know, they be working on my body in ways that I can't deal with in the daytime, so I take it at night. So he goes, he walked up, and I said, hey, how you doing? And he said, do I know you? I said, no, I don't know you. I said, but if I look like you and you look like me, why can't I speak to you and acknowledge your presence? He said, oh, I'm sorry. I see. That's what I was taught when I was a kid. He said, oh, okay. He said, well, you have a good day. Thanks for that. I said, you're welcome. And that was it. And it's like, he like, oh my God. I've never heard of no stuff like that before. But we need that. You know, none of us had grandparents, you know, real grandparents from the old school who just lay it down to us the right way. Grandparents they didn't talk a lot. They talked when it was necessary. You know, I grew up in an era around older people who were more or less like, shut up and watch and learn. Yeah. Shut up, watch and learn. don't listen to what I got to say because I don't have anything to say to you. But you're going to learn by paying attention to every single detail. You see this? You see that? This is what it is. Grandma taught me how to make pies and make cakes just by sitting there watching her. She didn't talk about her recipe. She did it.
Yeah. Yep.
She did it. She take that Swanson flour and she, put it all together, and I just be in awe. Baby. You can't stay over here in my area while I'm making my cake. You go over there
and not do anything,
and you make your cake. No, you make your own cake with your own product. You watch me as I go. But I don't want your little dirty hands because you're still a kid that play outside all day. Even though you don't wash your hands, it's a level of respect. You get what I'm saying? But we don't have that anymore. Just respecting every aspect of a person's personal space, their words, their heart, the way that they love, the way that they show you things, the way they walk, their essence, period. Respect it. It might not be what you like. It might not be how you like it. But nobody should ever change or come into your life and make you change who you are in a split second. You should always be true to who you are, no matter what they are. You should be able to assess that person. And if you don't know how to do it, you got to look within and stop being so mean to yourself. Build yourself up. Honor yourself. And only when you do that will you be able to honor that woman that's standing next to you or that man that's standing next to you. That's where true love reigns true and deep from, in my personal opinion.
Thank you so much. Sister Michelle and Lola, what do you all have to say? What do you all have to say about that?
Well, I'll go first. I was gonna say I was listening, and it was really taking me back to some of the conversations I've had, or let's say I've purposely had with just random people that I used to meet, because I used to work at, it was enclosed. I always had to deal with the public, lots of people meeting constantly, lots of energies. And what I noticed is that there was a certain type of female that I used to see all the time. And I noticed that, well, for instance, like with certain types of foreigners, right, that come over, when they first get here, they have these expectations in terms of, as a woman, what you're supposed to be like, what you're supposed to look like, things you're supposed to aspire to. And like this whole skin bleaching thing was like really big or whatever. And I would see Black females that would come to me with like a dark skinned picture, but the person in front of me wasn't dark skinned. It was, you guys know I'm light skinned, but I was dark compared to them. And I heard of such things, but I didn't really see it in the flesh to really know what it feels like to be in the presence of someone that's actually mentally had enough gall to do that. And that's what I started experiencing. So I'm like, yo, like, why are they doing this? Like, what planet are you on? Like, what's going on? So what I started realizing is that, you know what? When a woman sits in front of me and I see that, I'm going to say something that's going to, inspire her not to do it. I'm not going to directly tell her, oh, that looks kind of crazy, or, that's not acceptable, because people don't do too well with certain types of, comments, like you said, just coming out and just saying stuff. Yeah. Like, it don't go over well. So I started finding aspects of themselves that was pretty, that was attractive, and zoning in on that in the conversation. Like one lady, she was literally in the process of it. Like she hadn't finished, but she was in the process of it. And I seen her, and I said, you know what? Your skin color is marvelous, like how it was. Now, I know she was darker, but how it was, I said, your skin color is marvelous. I said, my mother, she literally bakes and doesn't care if she catch skin cancer, whatever, just to look like it. And she could see I'm really light-skinned, so my mother is like extremely light-skinned. And I'm like, there's people walking around that would pay top dollar to look just like you. And she was a foreigner, and she's like, really? And I was like, yeah. I said, I even sit in the tan because, I really want to be nice and brown. Like, nobody wants to be pale, even the palest people want, a tinge to them. So, she was like, do you really think so? Like, I could tell that she had never heard that, you look the way you look. is desirable. Not like it's nice. No, it's desirable. So when I would see females like that, I would make sure I like give them a compliment on something. Like if I seen that they were covered up in track, and I seen that, well, for me personally, I'm like, you would look better, with a short haircut, or, like with natural hair, like, with a certain color. I would tell them, like, yo, you got the perfect size of head for a shortcut. Because people like me wish I could have your head, but you got the perfect size head. Like, I mean, I would find something to compliment them on so that it wouldn't be a matter of, well, this strange, like you said, competition, or who can, wear the longest hair, who can have the brightest eyes, who can, put as more silicone in themselves to look bigger. Like now I'm noticing people doing the big lip thing. Like it's, and even that like has its reaches. But I got to a point where I'm like, you know what? I'm the only one that I know in my close vicinity that purposefully does this. But I know that if enough people starts to do this, it'll create a wave of consciousness for other people to feel freer to do it. Because the only reason why people, for instance, like feel discomfortable when someone speaks to them is because they're in a culture where they're used to the normalcy of people not speaking. Right. So the more people around them that speak, the more they level up to, well, okay, this is acceptable, and it becomes this trend, as we say, and then it becomes like just normal everyday life. So I know for me as a woman, I want to be complimented. I remember one time Chief was talking about objectifying women, and he it just bluntly said, like, you want to be objectified. Like, and then he explained it. And I mean, granted, the society has made me feel like just saying the word "you're objectified" is something I shouldn't like want to hear.
Right.
But when he explained it, I'm like, you know what?
You do.
All right. Like, yeah. So, I mean, everybody wants that, but I think from woman to woman, it takes on a different meaning when a woman can say freely, like, oh, I can't stop looking at you because you just beautiful today. You were dressed beautiful today. I swear to God. But, that is something I know people aren't used to. And when they do get a hint of it, they have to really mentally like work out, well, is she okay in her mind? Like, why is she talking to me like that? Or whatever. But then when they get whenever they get normal with it, they appreciate it, but it might not affect the society the way maybe I would want it to in its grandeur, but at least I'm not adding to the problem, and it's something that makes me feel good when I let someone else feel good. And it's not like I'm lying about them, because I don't give people compliments on stuff. I'm like, oh no, like you got to sit down with that. I don't do that. Like, like if a brother get in front of me and he got his pants down, I'm not about to sit and compliment his pants. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm totally ignoring that, especially if I'm at work. But, I zone in on what somebody actually should be paying attention to, so it's like I'm kind of trying to sandwich the circumstance to kind of raise their awareness up, because like you guys were saying earlier, like we giving these mixed messages to people, and the one mixed message we give is, well, when we see something that's out of order, we, for whatever reason, people say, well, it's not your business, or, they're grown, or, it doesn't involve you, or they have a legal right, stuff like that. But when you know how to, in a sense, approach it, it's not a matter of being like, well, being in someone's personal space or their personal business, because everybody needs to be checked on their stuff. And I told one guy one time, we got into a little bit of a match, because I'm telling him, you saying to me that, you hate women, fake women and stuff, but the only types of women you want to date are women with extreme long hair and, with these types of circumstances that aren't always typically natural. So when you stop feeding into that idea, people will stop assuming that idea is something you actually have on your mind that they need to meet. And, he's saying, well, how do I feed into it? I'm like, well, you actually give it credence. Like when you see a chick dressed like a certain way, you give her attention. Whether it be good or bad, you giving her attention, but you don't give no attention to the female that you say you appreciate. Like when you see natural
Right.
sisters walking around, do you go out your way to say, sister, you're beautiful, or sister, I like
Mhm.
that? Like, do you do that? You know, like, do
Right.
you purposefully do that? Like, for me, when I see females in a circle where it's like one female with like natural hair, or she looks like, well, she's in her culture and she ain't worried about anybody else's thought, I purposely go into the circle and say something to her in front of everyone about
Mhm.
that and give her that compliment. Now, it's like a twofold thing personally for me. I want her to know that I appreciate her in her beingness, but
Mhm.
in the same breath, I want the other ones to know, you need to do something else with your time, because you doing too much. Like
Mhm.
all of this extra stuff you doing and saying and acting like you're doing too much. And no, I'm not gonna give it attention, and you're gonna feel my non-attention. So I think when we start giving each other proper awareness of who we are, like when speaking, it's something simple,
Mhm.
going out our way to have a conversation versus like treating each other like we machines. You know,
Mhm. Mhm.
this creates a culture of normalcy, but it's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to be something that, especially in this culture in North America, it's not going to be something that's going to catch on like drama. Like drama catches on fast,
Mhm.
but
Definitely.
real life, don't catch on as fast until you make that popular. So just like at some
Mhm.
point, natural hair wasn't popular. Now all of a sudden, you got all these companies investing in natural hair
Natural
products
hair.
because someone has made being natural the thing to do. It's made it popular. So people only
Mhm.
following the trajectory of where people's minds are at or their normalcy. And I mean, this
Mhm.
is natural. It's a natural progression, but I know I don't expect things to change overnight. But one
Yeah.
thing's for sure, like the sister was saying earlier, she grew up, underneath of a certain mindset
Mhm.
with having older women around her. Typically, I'll say, and I'm part of this stigma that I didn't grow up with grandparents whatsoever. I didn't grow up under old people whatsoever. I grew
Mhm.
up under the baby boomers, if that's what you call them.
Mhm.
And they were in their own state of mind when it came to the newer generation, which was a bit distant. So that had an effect on me, but it's just made it that much more for me to do because I might not, the system may not have to reach as far to be on a certain level that I might have to reach because of the way I'm starting at versus how she started.
Right.
She had a little bit of an
Right. Right.
advantage having that, that close interaction. Whereas with me, I got to actually go out my way and, let's say, sit around older ladies that I don't know in a circle and just
Mhm.
purposefully put my presence there
You
versus
have to
having
seek.
it every
Yeah.
day in my house.
Yeah. You
So
have to
I think it's beautiful.
actually seek it out. Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
Let me bring in this other caller real quick. I think this is a Skype call.
Yes.
Greetings.
Yes. I doing, sisters. How are
Doing
Greetings.
you?
good.
Greetings. We're well. How are
Greetings to
you?
you. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you all.
Greetings. Peace.
I have a question for you. Uh, the the neighbors. Uh, we have those kind of four wheels. Those small ones that you put things on it, and for walkers they call.
Okay. I don't know what that was. Maybe that was uh a troller or something. I don't know. I think Sister Michelle's call dropped. She'll probably let me bring her back in. Michelle, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I hung up
Okay.
accidentally.
Okay. Yeah. So something that Sister Lola was saying just about complimenting each other. I think that's really important, and it does kind of catch you off guard. For a for a very long time, and I still kind of have difficulties with this. It's like it's sometimes hard for me to take compliments. And it's just because I'm so used. I had grown so used to not getting them, or always being kind of put down a little bit, that was the norm for me. That when somebody would actually give me a compliment, it's like I automatically just thought that, they're not sincere about what they're saying. So I'll just, oh, okay, yeah, thanks, just kind of downplay it a lot. I just didn't, it's just hard to take. And then, something the other caller said on 618, just about going out of your way to speak to people or to say something to people. Like, that is such a huge thing now. I think it's because, like I said, even with social media and everything that's going on, we're so far away from just communicating with people that they're so startled, because I've done that too. Just, as I'm going into a store, hold a door open, or just say thank you or greetings, or how, whatever, just acknowledge them and just speak to them. And they'll like do a double take, like, what? You just completely catch them off guard because nobody speaks. And I'm from the South. It used to be a thing, like everywhere you went, like everybody speaks to everybody. I know when I go back home, to Louisiana, where my grandparents are from, and most of my family's from, like when you come home, like everybody in the town knows that you're there. So even as you're driving to your grandmother's house or whatever, walking, whatever, it's like, everybody is waving, everybody is speaking to you. And if you don't stop and speak, like, it's a problem. Like, something is wrong. We saw Kim, she didn't even stop and say anything. So it's like, I just like the caller, I grew up with a grandmother and a grandfather that, for summers, like all the grandchildren got sent down south, for the summer. And so my grandmother, she would take all the girls. And my grandfather, every dawning would come early in the dawning and take all the boys with him for the day. And so the boys would be off learning whatever it was they had to do. And then, the girls would be with grandma doing, whatever grandma had us doing. So it's interesting because that side of the family is completely different from the other side of the family. But I got to see the two, I got to see the differences growing up. So, just again, just having that relationship early on with women and with older women, or just, just that community where everybody cares about you. Everybody speaks to you. Everybody asks, everybody's, you never went hungry. There was some woman always, there were always elder women coming by, to check on my grandmother or to see if she needed anything, or, whatever it was, like all the women all checked up on each other all the time. And that's just something that we don't have now because, like you all said earlier, it's get out of my business. You don't know anything about me. What are you trying to say? If I, if somebody tries to come over and help you clean or help you cook, what are you trying to say? I can't do it myself. Like we just instantly just take it as an insult. And so I don't, some of the issues we have as women, like I can say that it maybe comes from, I don't know, something that, we may have experienced growing up. But, it seems like it's just getting worse. I don't know. What do you all think? Again, if you have a comment or a question, just press the number 1 and I'll bring you in. Sister Michelle, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
I wanted to thank your sister for mentioning, that very important aspect about, community. And just like yourself and the sister who called in, I was raised by my grandparents as well.
You're a little bit muffled, Michelle. Can
you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
Okay, great. Just like yourself and like the other sister, I also was raised with my grandparents until the age of 6. I don't have a lot of memory from that time, but I do know that my disdain for relationships in this culture and my not wanting to get married came from knowing that there is a better relationship. So for a long time, I never really saw that in this culture, the relationship that my grandparents had. So from a early teenage age, I decided that marriage and children were not for me because I didn't see that healthy version in our world. And then, of course, I met my husband, and he's very aligned with in the same like cultural values and family values. And after I met him was when I realized that, maybe with him it could be different. So for once I was excited about forming a union with somebody, that but that only came to be at the age of 29. So for a long time I had a disdain for men. I had a disdain for relationships. And I also had like a disdain for other women, or women that like do all that extra stuff. Um, Particularly in my case, my father always really gave me so much value into how smart I was. He always told me that I didn't need anything extra to call the attention of men. And when I was young, that was always annoying. He was always like, "You're beautiful, you're smart. You don't have to dress any way for men. The right guy who will see how beautiful you are." Like that all the time. And now I realize how important that was for me, because I never really I was never really the center of attention kind of a woman. I was never like the pretty one or the one who was like popular. I was always like on the sides, but that I was okay with that. Um, but it's a different kind of relationship to men. When you're a woman on the sidelines, you kind of do get jealous of. I have friends who were the pretty skinny ones that, you go to a bar or a club, and they get all the attention. Even though I didn't get jealous because I had more self worth than most, I'm not gonna say that I didn't act out um, because of it, but I did. You would feel like, oh, that sucks. Why nobody wants to come and talk to me, or if I didn't have my boobs out, I wasn't getting any attention from men. So, but bringing that subject back up with the grandmother and all those values that older people just instill in you as a child is so important. And I commend for Sister Lola for even though she's not having that around her, trying to create that reality in her life. And it's so important. Um, and, even if we don't have women that are healthy like that, maybe we should do like Lola and really seek out older women that not only speak about a better culture, but also are embodying it. Sister Tasha, yourself, I'm still learning. But I'm always a big proponent for family. Like I'm not gonna be the kind of woman that's gonna promote anything but. So, and I think that's what we need, because family is the center of our culture.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Let's see if we have any other callers here. I don't think. Let's see. Okay, yeah, no one else has their hand up. Caller 618, are you still there? I think maybe she has muted her mic. But again, we've got about 40.
Yes,
40
I'm here. I'm sorry. I
okay.
did. I muted
Okay.
my mic.
That's fine.
I'm here.
That's fine. If you have anything you'd like to say, just jump in and feel free to speak whenever you like. Again, it's just yeah.
I like to tell her thank you, for being vulnerable and sharing with us about the things that she went through as a youth, because that's another thing that us women are afraid to do around another woman, is be vulnerable, and that's a part of our construct, of a part of our build. We are vulnerable, and we are are warriors when we are unafraid to show our vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
And it's not celebrated. It's shunned upon. You have to, in this day and age, you always have to be, a fake facade of what a warrior is. Always aggressive with an attitude and walking
Mhm.
around feeling like you got a chip on your shoulder. No, that's not us. Around each other, we should be able to cry and open up and talk about the things that, our hardships, which are the things that we felt like was a hardship, because most oftentimes it wasn't really a hardship. It was just something that you needed to go through in order to get to the next level, sort of like an initiation, so to speak.
Mhm.
That's just what you needed to go through in order to become the woman that you are today, to be the loving spirit that you are today. And
Right.
I want to just thank her, for being able to do that.
Mhm.
We don't know how many people are listening, and we don't think about that when you're unafraid to be vulnerable. So bravo to you,
Mhm.
sis. I appreciate you for that.
Yes. Yes. Thank
I
you.
say thank you,
Uh,
sister.
yeah,
You're welcome.
that's definitely something that we don't do. And in the women's group, this is something that we've spoken about on Mondays, and that we've all opened up to each other, over time, just because just out of really trying to develop this sisterhood, is that even the women that we may have in our circles, just on an everyday basis, one of the things and I made a video about it, one of the things we don't do is we're not honest with each other. We want everybody in the world to think that, we're strong women, we don't get hurt, it's something wrong with you. That you're so emotional or that you don't have it together like me. It's like we put that projection out, like I got everything
Mhm.
together and I'm perfect. I don't know what's wrong with you, but you need to get it together like me. It's like we're not honest with each other about what really lies behind that. Because a lot of times when you have that attitude that nothing affects you or that you're so super, super strong or whatever, you're really masking a lot of hurt, and
Mhm.
it's exhausting. It's so exhausting to always try to put that front up because, like you said, that's not who we are. It's not. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't. It's not healthy to try to portray something that you're not, and it really will start to kind of distort you a bit, even physically. You'll start to look different, but that's something we just don't do. Like, we're not honest with women about what to expect in relationships. We're not honest with women about how our relationship is going or the changes that we had to make, in being in that relationship or just growing up as women. We're always looked at as like, well, there's something wrong with you that you can't get it together. But that same woman who now has it together had to go through something to get it together, but she's not telling you about that part. So now you feel deficient. And like Sister Michelle said, now you're trying to fix all this stuff externally because you don't know how to deal with the internal stuff. So let me wear my shirt a little bit tighter. Let me wear my skirt a little bit shorter, or let me wear a little bit more makeup. Let me, try to fix all this stuff externally to look like this woman that I think everybody's supposed to look like. And maybe I can, fool people into thinking that I'm that, even though I'm really not. But let me at least try to look the part. You know what I mean? So that honesty and vulnerability is something that's really, really important. I'm going to bring in another caller. This is 813.
Greetings,
Greetings.
sister.
Peace.
How you doing this time, Mark? How y'all doing?
I'm
So
well. How
I
are
gotta
you?
say,
Right, and
I'm
you.
good. I'm well. I'm well. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I've been enjoying. I've been sitting back with a beer and some popcorn and listening to y'all tongue wrestle. So it's good. But but I just got one question for the group,
Mhm.
and I'll just kind of build off it. Is that for example, I was in a relationship in the past, and All her friends are single. So whenever we have discussions or
Peace.
um,
Anwar?
yes,
Peace. Let's take the penises out of the mix. Just let the sisters flow. We'll come back to these questions later. I was the one who hung up on the nut job earlier. All right. So let's just let the sisters flow. All right.
Respect. Okay.
Peace.
Peace.
Okay, let's see. I think this is Brother Byron that's on the line, but Chief was saying just let the women speak today. So I'm going to put a hold on you, Brother Byron. There's another caller, 817. Greetings.
Greetings, everybody. Greetings, Sister Kim,
Hey.
Lola.
Hey, Sister Sequoia, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Sequoia.
Yes, I'm enjoying the conversation. I've just been trying to get my thoughts and everything together before, commenting, because there was so much I wanted to speak on that you guys kept talking more and more points coming up. Like, okay. But I wanted to comment on the compliment piece you guys were talking about. As far as like, I think it was Lola that said she liked to be complimented like in public, and I like to as well. It's like it feels good, when you're out and about and somebody compliments you and say, "Oh, you're such a beautiful woman," or it feels nice. So I was gonna say, just growing up with four sisters was really interesting because like just that dynamic. Like growing up, it was like we didn't get like a lot of like individual like attention as far as like our mother complimenting us individually on what was great about us. Like every time like we were complimented about something, it was always to compare you to the other sister. So like for example, like my sister had curlier, more, silkier hair than I did, and I had the most kinkiest hair. So like when we would sit down and get our hair done, I think my auntie used to do my hair and my mom used to do her hair. And my mom would make compliments like, "Oh, her hair is so soft," and my auntie would be like, "Oh yeah, your hair is so beautiful." And while I'm sitting there, they like, cussing like, "God, your hair," somebody know my hair is like. And I remember one time, my hair was so tangled that my auntie, she broke her comb, and she got so upset with me. She was like, "Your hair is so thick, you didn't broke my effing comb," and I'm just sitting there like, wow, like, so like, like already like the competition and then the jealousy starts to kick in, because then like also like as we were growing older and we became teenagers, like my mom would kind of just make compliments like, "Oh, look at this guy looking at your sister," and then you're looking like, okay, that's the sister that she complimented on her hair, and you already think like, okay, she's the prettier one, and then so then you have all this type of ugliness going on, like inside the home. So it's like, okay, so it's like we never developed like our self-esteem at all. We just always it was always a competition. It was always a comparison about everything, and and then we as sisters, we started to do it one another. Started to do it to one another. So it's just like, and then like when women like, or when I used to go out in public, like I would go out and actually try to seek that attention from males, because like I didn't get any compliments from women. Like women didn't walk up to me and say, "So beautiful," and so it's like, okay, well, I know a man is gonna try to say something to me, like, "Oh, sister, you look so pretty." They're gonna say it, So it's like I feel like we also wouldn't seek that attention from men if we had got that type of attention growing up from other women. Wouldn't go out seeking like, "Hey, I want this guy." A man walk into the room and then you start seeing women like pulling their hair and doing certain things. Like, okay, I gotta start, seeing if I can, get the attention before this other woman. And it's just so disgusting.
And what it is really it goes beyond just getting attention. You're really trying to get someone to love you. You're really trying to say, "Hey, look at me. I deserve to be cared for," and you're trying to find any kind of way possible, you know what I mean, to get that, like you said, from other men or whomever it may be, because you didn't get it when you were younger. And
Yeah.
Just something that small, like you're a grown woman now with your own family and everything. You still have that memory. And that is kind of what I was saying, earlier about how we soak everything up and we never really process that out. We never really work that out of our system. It just kind of just stays there, and it just lies there in our subconscious somewhere until an opportunity or to a situation presents itself where it wakes that little demon up in us again. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, I remember this happened to me when I was, whatever. And it's like we never really process that out. And I don't know, maybe you all have some ideas about this, how you can really process all that stuff out of you, how you can really get it out. It's one thing, like we can do all this spiritual stuff and love and light and all these other things to say that, we really do know that, my hair is not bad. I'm not ugly. My skin is not ugly. I'm not dumb. I'm not, whatever it may be. It's like we can say that, but have you really have you really gotten over that? Because as you can see, like from the comments and just what we were speaking about earlier, our initial contact with another woman, it triggers something and it brings it right back out. Even though we may say like we kind of worked through this or whatever, but it's like something will happen and it'll trigger that insecurity again. So it's like, how do you really kind of process that out? How do you really deal with that? Because it's just like.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I was just like,
no,
like I've actually been kind of like anxious to chime in because it's almost like, okay, so like the way I'm feeling now is like, so what do we do now? Right? Like kind of a mind frame. And speaking from personal experience, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm over a lot of the issues that plagued me for the first third of my life, but I've come a long way. One of the rituals that really helped me connect to my mother source and that really did heal me was one of the free rituals online that that Chief has for. It's a bath for Yemoya. And it's a really simple bath, 2 or 3 ingredients. And at the time, I was looking for organization in my life. I needed to get a lot of stuff in order. So that's my intention going in. But when I went in the ritual, since you guys already know, I didn't grow up with my birth mother. I was mothered by a lot of women. So when I went in the bath and I just, meditated for a little bit, I was focusing on what I wanted. But then I heard a voice in my ear saying, I've always been with you. And then I start seeing flashes of all of these women that raised me. And she says, I've never abandoned you. I've always been with you. You're such a beautiful, she started complimenting me. You're such a beautiful soul. Look what, like, she just started giving me everything that I needed to hear from my mother, especially at that time. I was a new mother. My first child, Alice, was a few months old. And that it totally changed my relationship with women. I saw myself in a different light. Also, the first exercise in the class, in the training, really helped my self-love because, as many of the students know, it has to do with facing yourself.
Right.
And one of the first experiences that I had was very scary at the time, but then very healing because people were talking to me and telling me, showing me all of the faces that I've been and all of the faces that I have been. So then it showed me like, and it's so silly that you're attached to this one. So that just like blew my mind. It's kind of like opened me up to a different reality because now it's like, wow, I love myself more. I appreciate myself more because I understand myself a lot more. So it's like we have to look for that healing, or at least try to become a better person, or go down this path of knowledge. And in your own experiences, I feel like the universe will heal you and give you exactly what you need to become a better person. And that's what's happened with me with Anu, and why I'm here talking, because I'm so appreciative, because my life has literally changed a 180 between the time of like I first listened to Chief and to this point in my life. I've eliminated a lot of the toxic people that really do want to see you burned down. They want to be better than you, so they don't want you to do good. And we have a lot of relationships like that, whether it be from our mother, and for women, our relationships with our fathers are very important. Especially growing up. So a lot of issues that we have to heal, and we might not necessarily know how to heal them, but if we start connecting with our higher self, then our higher self will create experiences for us to get to that higher state of mind. Because it's like, unfortunately, there's a lot of root chakra stuff, and it's painful. It's painful, and it's you feel it in your heart. There's like the brokenness, and it sucks that you have to literally nurture yourself back to a healthy state. But that's what we got to do, because the children are coming up. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing, and that we've been talking about, is what are we showing our little girls growing up? We can't do the same things that everybody's been doing. Not even for our own sake, it's for their sake, really. Yeah. Because we have to incarnate that higher level that they should start out of, so they can go to the next higher one, and so on and so forth. But it's hard. So I guess in conclusion is join the class. Do it. Do the ritual. Yeah. Because that's really not the only way, but if you're in this experience, there's a reason why.
Thank you so much for that, Sister Michelle. I needed to hear that as well. If you,
I was like, I need to hear that. I was gonna thank you for that, Michelle. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Sister Sequoia, for reaching out to this past weekend. I had posted a video just on my YouTube page recently, and it seemed like after that post, like everybody started calling her from Lola, Sequoia. Another sister called, like maybe 4 people that day that reached out, and I think that what the caller was saying earlier, 618. Just about being vulnerable and showing your vulnerability has so much to do with it, because it let another woman know, like, hey, I'm going through this too. I'm dealing with these same issues too. And now I feel okay to come to you and talk to you about it. I don't feel like I can't talk to somebody about it. So I just want to say thanks to Sister Sequoia and Lola for reaching out.
And if I can add something. Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that she brought up a very good topic as well. Thank you for that, sis. That, we do go through a lot of things. And I went through some similar things that she's discussing. I don't know if it's just that generation or what happened, to our ancestors in the past, or what was taking place back then. That developmental idea of that I'm hurting, I don't know how to show this, I don't know what I'm doing, so this is what I'm used to, I'm going to stick to doing this because this is what I know to do. And like someone else mentioned, I can't remember who said it, trying to change that, trying to do something different, trying to figure out a way, because the old way is not working anymore, and that pain has to disappear at some point, we're in a phase where we want to grow, we want to blend, we want to come together, we want to connect, and I'm enjoying this time. But what I've been experiencing lately, I don't know if it's Mercury in retrograde or what it is, but for some reason, I have for the past couple of days just been so teary-eyed. And there is no reason. I mean, there could be a reason. I just haven't scratched it or, taken the time to really figure out what it is.
Yeah.
It's just this emotional ball of just walking, just, like yesterday. It was just, I was so emotional. And I had to kind of just pull myself together and say, look here, okay, this is what we're about to do. I have these conversations with myself a lot.
Yeah.
Look here, this is what we're about to do. We're about to do this and we're about to do that because we got to get it together, and we'll have this time. We'll have this time on the weekend, maybe Saturday where we can just pass this thing out and just maybe then we can just have a full-on cry and then, okay, and just figure out where it came from, how it came about, whatever it is. Even if there's nothing in this time for you to have a cry, we'll do it then. But right now, we got a couple more days. Just hang on. So it was just one of those moments, and it's like, I'm not upset with myself, and I try my best. Not saying that I'm perfect. I don't ever try to portray that. I try to be my best critic and my best cheerleader. I try my best to, promote myself and keep myself in a state of mind where I'm going to get better. I'm going to encourage myself to do the things that I need to do, and as far as growing up with this, toxic environment, maybe, it's a, different way of saying it, but that's the verbiage that I feel like I need to use right now. It was challenging, and I was one of those kids, at a young age, real quiet, didn't say too much unless I saw like a serious situation where it was like really wrong. Then I would speak up and I would be extremely vocal. And I thank my grandmother for not trying to kill that spirit in me. She encouraged it. She saw that I was, was, for the right of whatever, and for the trying to take up for people who I felt like were done wrong. And she didn't try to kill that spirit in me, but I think that helped me to be well equipped for when I went to be with my mom, because, my mom was like, look here, girl, you gotta be this way, be that way. And I just had that mindset like, no, I'm free to be who I please to be when I want to be, how I want to be it. And I know that this is the right thing to do. And once I developed it and I stood on that, it's like I carried that with me no matter what. And I thank those two, and a lot of the men that I grew up with for that. My uncles would, be real protective over me, and always make sure that they would, come to my rescue if they saw something going on with me. My grandfather, he wouldn't let anybody, if anybody said something out, my grandfather would come to the rescue, just like Superman. What you say? Hold on, wait a minute. Not this one, and everybody still say it today, after he passed on, they be like, oh, granddaddy was real protective over you type of situation. And, you, like she said, you need those men too. You need that comfort and that,
security.
That stability, like you said, that security from a man to know that it's okay. I got your back. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to cover you. It's okay. Because sometimes, like she mentioned earlier, women can be a little bit dogmatic, and it could be from a part of, oh, I see this in her that I wasn't able to develop. Oh man, I see that, that I wish I could have, and it could come from your aunt, your mom, anybody, but it's like, once they see that, and the men are like, don't do that, and I'm not gonna let you do that. So I it's a lot of lessons that I've enjoyed listening to today, and all my sisters. You guys are a true blessing. Thank you so much for allowing me to listen to you, be encouraged by you, and to just to plant seeds and help me to develop the ideas, like I said before, into what I want to do. And my name is Marquita.
Okay. Marquita, thank you for sharing and calling in too. I want to encourage you to join our Monday calls. Be a part of the women's group.
I put it in my calendar. That's how I knew about it today, because I put it on my calendar as a continuous thing on Mondays and Wednesdays. I missed it on Monday. I'm super busy.
Okay.
But I said I'm not missing this one.
Okay. Did you sign up through A New Life Global? Did you sign up through to be a part of the ministry?
I am waiting for my book, The Divine. I can't remember.
Grasping the Root of Divine Power. Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am. I'm waiting. I'll get it Friday. I've looked at my email today.
Well,
from Amazon.
I was just gonna say, to be a part of the Monday group, though, all you have to do is just sign up and through A New Life Global. Yeah, just go to anewlifeglobal.org and just and sign up there, and just make sure let it be known that you want to be a part of the women's group, and then you'll get an email to the link that we use when we meet every Monday. Because this is like a private, it's like a private call. It's not on the radio or anything. This is something that we do in private. Yeah.
But can you spell this website out for me, please, so that I'm getting to the right link?
ANULIFEGLOBAL.org.
GLOBAL. .org.
GLOBAL Global. Or if you have an Android phone, you can download the app, and the app is ANU Nation, ANU Nation.
And the only reason why I wish I had a Android phone.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, well, you can go to the website and register that way too. And we can make sure you're on the next call on Monday.
Okay, awesome.
Because we definitely need more women like you in the group.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to bring in another caller here. This is 864. Greetings, Young Community Radio.
Greetings. My name is
Greetings.
Marissa.
Peace, Marissa.
And peace. Hi, everyone. Basically, I guess I can say I did join the A New Nation, and I didn't see where I could sign up to become a part of the women's group.
Okay.
So I don't know if I did receive an email, but I didn't get anything about a link.
Oh, okay. I tell you what, just send me your email address. You can email me at seriousb as in boy witch WITCH @gmail.com, and I'll send you the link.
Okay, I appreciate it. And I just like to say I've enjoyed listening to the call, and I love what you guys are doing, because I feel like as Black people, especially ones like us who Christianity doesn't resonate with, and you really want to get reconnected with your true essence of who we are and our ancestors, this is very healing, and I'm so happy that y'all are doing this for people like us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Because we need to heal.
How? What do you have to say on the topic today? Have you had any of these experiences, or even have done it to another woman? That was another question I wanted to ask everybody: is have you done it to another woman?
I'm gonna be honest. I was a little late coming on the call, but from what I could hear, but I was listening. From what I can hear, it was sounding like y'all were talking about, I guess, women making other women jealous of one another.
Yeah, just how we treat each other. While we can't get along.
I guess I would say just the way I kind of.
Okay, her call dropped. Maybe she'll come back in. But that's a question that I'll put to all of you on the line, and just to let you all know, we've got about 17 minutes left in the show. So make sure you press 1 if you want to come in. Everybody's still on the line. I haven't muted your line, so just feel free to chime in. But we've all had these experiences where certain things have happened to us, but have you yourself done something like this to another woman? Okay, let me bring her back in. This is 864. Okay, you're back.
Okay, sorry.
Okay,
yeah,
no
but the way that I grew up made me kind of be selfish, I guess you could say, because I just felt like if I didn't look out for me, then nobody else would. So I don't really feel like I purposely tried to make any woman jealous. I just wasn't never concerned about helping another woman, because I just felt like I got me and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do to try to make things happen in my life the way I want to happen. And if you're not, then you need to jump on that bandwagon and do it too. I just didn't know. And it's not that I didn't want to help other women. It's just I was just so focused on what I need to be doing that I didn't know how to. And so it makes me be perceived in a way that I'm not. And it just makes my relationship with women be kind of sketchy. And it's not. I'm not like that. I really want to be with women. I understand women need women, because men don't understand like how we think. Like, we're very complex, and they don't understand that because they're not capable. It doesn't, I know their mind's linear, so it's like they're not capable. And we need each other, but it's just so much out in the world that divides us, and it's just hard. It's hard. It's just hard.
It is hard, but I tell you, once you open up or make yourself vulnerable, you'll attract that to you. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times, like going back to those two basic things. I'm gonna mute your line just for a minute. Just going back to those two basic things of love and security. A lot of women don't share or aren't vulnerable, or don't share that part of themselves because they don't feel safe to do that. So that's one of the reasons why we kind of bottle up and we don't reach out and help another woman or share things with another woman, is because we don't feel safe. You may not feel safe to, or you feel like in doing that you are losing something. Like you're making yourself less than, or you like some of your shine is gonna wear off. Is gonna go away if you show that I'm broken too, or I'm going through this too. You kind of lose some of that polish that you were trying to project, that you had it all together. And so when you're not vulnerable, even though you say you really do want to have that sisterhood, or you really do want to be around women like that, just the fact that you close yourself off and that you kind of stay behind the curtain a little bit, it just projects to other women that I'm not gonna show you all that part of myself. I'm not gonna bond with you in that way. So I think it's something that you still have to kind of maybe get over. 864, I brought you back in. Just if that's something that you really want, it's something that you're gonna have to get past, because a lot of people are not going to gravitate towards you or be around you if they see that you're untouchable, so to speak, or you can't be open with them.
And I totally agree with you, Lynette, because that's how I feel when I'm around people. I feel like when I first meet them, we all get along and we're all fine, but all of a sudden it's like I draw back into my shell. I guess I do feel vulnerable and I don't like it, and I get back into the mode where I have this. I don't need any help. And then,
yeah.
I kind of just leaving
or I guess they get annoyed, and I hate that because I don't want to be that way. I'm trying to learn how not to be, and I just need help.
Yeah. Again, I encourage you too as well. Reach out to us at the women's in the women's group on the Monday calls that we have. This is something that we talk about a lot in Monday group. And for all of you on the line, if you want to be a part of that, make sure you reach out to us and let us know so that I can send you the link, or someone else can send you the link. My email address again is seriousb as in boy witch at gmail. That's SIRIUSB as in boy WITCH at gmail. And I can get you a link, but you have to at least be a part of the ministry first. So to do that, you need to go to ournewlifeglobal.org to sign up, and then we can get you the link to be a part of the call. Because that call on Monday night, it's like all of us have kind of, we all look forward to Monday nights now. And sometimes we're on that phone for like 3 or 4 hours, just dealing with some stuff. And to the sister that spoke earlier about that Mercury retrograde, like that's something that we've all been talking about in the Monday group. Like we all have been just going through it. It's not. I don't want to just blame it on the Mercury retrograde. I don't know if that has something to do with it or not. I don't know. But we all have said that. Sister Sequoia, Michelle mentioned some things. It's like we all have kind of felt that energy where it's just super, super emotional and just, I don't know, just kind of falling apart a little bit here and there. It's like, and because we all have bonded in this group, I don't know, I guess maybe we kind of, we synced up to where we all kind of are feeling similar things too. I don't know. Sister Michelle, Sequoia, Lola, do you all have anything else you'd like to add?
I would just add that I think there's a big misconception that in children's lives, especially little girls, that their father's showering of compliments and just, that dynamic between a female and her dad is all that a woman really needs to grow up and actually understand, her worth and see herself, her self-image to herself as being pretty. I think don't get me wrong, that is the truth, but it's in a sense a half truth, because there's a certain energy that comes from the feminine energy when it comes to beauty, and with the male energy. And when you lack one or the other, you still get the same effect, like in terms of your self-image being skewed, or it's not serving you from that standpoint in terms of how you're going forward. I know personally, I had both my parents in my life. My father was like emphatically, showering me with compliments on everything. But on the flip end, Mom Dukes was just somewhere else with it. Like she, there's this issue in the family of having white, quote unquote, beloved. And, apparently there's people trying to, in a sense, take it out of the family. And it's this thing about, if you're light skinned, you have to be with a dark skinned person. And with my mother, death just was passed on to her, so she passed it on to me. So while my father was saying, oh, you look beautiful, your hair, your skin, the way you are, your size, you're just right, all this, my mother was saying, no, get on that floor and roll on your butt, because Black women shouldn't have butts that's not round. Like, you need to make yourself look better. Get out in the sun. Stop being in the house. You're too pale. Like, there was even this issue of perming, because perming, I think in a sense, when you perm your hair, you kind of change the texture of it a little bit. And with us, we had fine hair. So my mother's like, you'll never have a full voluptuous hair, just putting water, so they permed hair to make it fuller. I don't know how that happened. But, it was weird. But that was all coming from my mother. Like, it never came from my father. And honestly, I can't remember a time when a man actually like told me, hey, you're ugly, or you're messed up, if you know what I mean. I can't remember that, but I remember it all coming from the woman in my life. So when a man did give me a compliment, even though I didn't like shun it, internally I knew I couldn't really accept it like fully,
Right.
because for whatever reason I really couldn't accept it. And listening to the show and just really doing some soul searching, I realized, and I had to come to grips with, like, yeah, I have beauty issues, not because the men isn't giving me what they're supposed to be giving me. It's because there's a woman there that wasn't giving me her side of that. And when you couple that together, it's like, like, okay, going in, I've had that thought, honestly, that I do better in a circle of men because females, just don't know how to act. They don't know how to receive me. They don't know how to do whatever. I've had that going in at some point in my life, like very recently. So, when I look back on, well, why do I feel that way? Well, I really haven't had any real bad experiences with women, but strangely, that's how I feel. And it's like, well, I kind of felt like that going in as a kid. Like, I wasn't pretty to my mother because I wasn't dark enough. I wasn't tall enough. My hair wasn't full enough. Like, I just didn't look black. And then, of course, well, I don't know. I grew up in Baltimore, so that was like back in the 80s, a racist town. I've had paper bags poured out on me. It was racist. So that her influence didn't help the climate. But, I know for me, when it comes to how I go forward now, it's hard because I'm consciously doing it. It's like when you say, well, we gotta, talk to each other, be open with each other, compliment each other, and be comfortable with that. It is a good thing in and of itself. But the fact that I have to consciously do this, that tells me that I'm coming from a place of hardship in which it's not flowing. I actually have to like stay in remembrance of this thing, because if I don't, I'll slip back. So that tells me, well, I'm not quite out of the woods yet when it comes to this thing. When I have to relate to a female and open up to a female and actually just be myself, not in front of a female, but also in front of men too. Because, at least in this younger generation, I've heard it bluntly said that, well, females don't dress and do the do-up thing for men anymore. They're just in competition with each other. It isn't even about trying to impress men. They're just in competition with each other. And I'm like, y'all must got some big paychecks. But this is what it is. So I do feel the idea that we have to be cognitive of how we impress on our girls, and not just allowing that responsibility to fall on the men and say, well, as long as he's doing what he's supposed to be doing in his daughter's life, she'll grow up and be straight. Yeah, to some degree, but that's not all of it. So like, if it's not for conversations like this, people like myself wouldn't even really. That's why I said at the beginning of the show, I'm also, guilty of not even understanding simple things until I see it outside and be like, oh, wow, like, I haven't even thought of that. I haven't even contemplated that. So going forward, like, how do I have to ask myself, well, how am I interacting with females? Am I giving off this air of, standoffishness because of whatever? Am I doing too much, like trying to make myself feel like I'm not what I really am, and deal with, my issue with my mom, like what happened? Like, I'm grown now. I have to act like an adult. So it's one of those things that I'm going through, but it is a process. And I do appreciate the process though, because if it wasn't for that process, a lot of us wouldn't know what it feels to be in this place and appreciate it, because if you don't go through nothing, it's like, what do you have there to appreciate? But it is hard. Like the sister said, it is really hard when you're dealing with this cycle, and you don't even know where to pinpoint where the cycle begins and ends, or why it's even doing what it's doing, but you're in it and you feel it. So I would just say to any female that, if you're a mom, you need to pay very close attention to everything you put into your daughter as far as her beauty as well. Same thing with the man. And then the same thing outside of your immediate family members, because you could be on the street and say something, about a female, not even about her directly, and somebody hears it and it affects them for the rest of their life. And they walk around with that, that thought that, you just put out there because you was just talking to somebody else. So, it's, we think we're doing one thing, just being honest, but then it's like at the same time we're unconsciously creating this cycle of sickness. And I've been in a room with someone, like what the sister explained, with her childhood, where there's two sisters. One has fine hair, one has curly hair, and people cursing with the curly hair one and giving all these extra comments to the one without. It's like seriously. So that's an issue. And honestly, nowadays with technology and more knowledge about how to work with ourselves, it's like situations like that really should never happen, but they do. But I mean, it comes to a point where we got to talk and open up about this, because if not, how are we supposed to know,
Yeah. Again, just what I was saying earlier about most of the hurt that we carry even into adulthood came to us as children from other women. Has nothing to do with the men. We carry a lot of hurt just from women. And so, like you said, if we never stop to even think about it, like, why do I feel this way? What was projected onto me that makes me feel this? Like, you'll never really understand it. You'll always think it's somebody else. But a lot of the hurt and insecurities that we had came from other women. And I will definitely say it's because of the culture. We have, growing up just in American culture, or just coming from a slave culture, it has really distorted us into just, being completely dysfunctional and just backwards. Like, Lola, you were saying, you had to deal with issues with the skin where paper bags were being pulled out on you. Well, you also have the opposite end where, you're the dark one, My family was split right down the middle. I watched, it was like my father's family, half of them were really, really light and half of them were really, really dark, including my grandmother. My grandmother was dark. My grandfather was Creole, so he was like, I used to think he was white. You know what I mean? So some of the kids are really, really light skinned. And so I watched that dynamic just even with them play out, at the same time. And it's just like, and then of course, as it trickled down to me. And so it's like, gosh, like, this is complete insanity. So, you get hated on for being too light, you get hated on for being too dark. It's really just this jacked up culture that has us, trying to compare and measure ourselves against somebody else. We don't have a measure for, we don't have a measure for ourselves. And so a lot of that, even though, your parents are supposed to love you and everything else, they do the best for you, they try to protect you, but things like that slip in. Like your mother telling you to go outside and get some sun, you're not good enough, you need to thicken your hair. Like that stuff, like, just like Sister Sequoia, like, you still feel that even now as a grown woman. You still remember that, so it still hasn't like completely passed out of you, just yet. And so again, we're just talking about how to get it out, how to do away with it. It's like, do you carry some of that stuff with you forever? Does it ever really go away? Do you ever really get over it? Or, again, just these little instances we have, these little happenings, we have with other women, that's when it starts to sneak out. That's when it comes. Then somebody comes in that may look like somebody from your past that did something to you, or whatever it is, something that they do or something that they say may trigger it, and it, boom, it jumps out, something you thought was never there. And it's just, I remember my daughter and her little cousin were playing one day just to talk about the whole skin thing. Or even this is probably a universal thing just with Black people, because I've heard other Black people say this too. Just even as kids, kids want to go outside and play. How you'll have some people, don't stay out too long. You're gonna get dark. You're gonna turn black. If you're out in the sun too long, it's like, it's. I'm like, you're Black. How can you turn black? But that's just something. I hear people say that even still today, with all the information that's out, with all of the history, with all of the spiritual stuff we're into, with all this stuff we're into, I'm still hearing people call their kids inside from playing so they won't get too black, and it's just like, it's so disheartening. And I'm like, you know what? This goes deeper than what people realize. They don't realize that this is a part of a sick culture, a toxic culture that we're in, a culture that doesn't teach us how to be sisters, a culture that doesn't teach us to love ourselves, a culture that is always telling you that you're not good enough, that you don't measure up. You know what I mean? A culture that you're seeing yourself through somebody else's eyes, and we keep passing it down, being a part of that particular culture. Because if you talk to other people who may have been raised, out of the country or somewhere else, they got their own mess too. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. But some of the issues that they have, you'll note, are some things that we don't necessarily, we struggle with, that they don't. You know what I mean? And you can also tell how their culture has kind of been infiltrated by Western culture, because mm-hmm. now they're starting to develop some of our crap. You'll see that quite often. That goes all around the world now. Like, you said it, Lola, that, at your particular job, like how women from other countries coming in, bleaching their skin and, changing their names so that they don't have like an ethnic sounding name and all these types of things. So it kind of goes back to the culture thing too. It's hard to kind of combat this stuff if you're still participating in American or Westernized culture.
It is. I mean, for me, one thing I really take it is that when I see it, like I told you, I don't feed into it. Like, if anything, I'll go around it, but I try to be effective, because a part of the reason why people stay in a certain type of culture is because the people around it, laid back with some of this stuff. And some of it is just, blatantly, like, it's just wrong. Like, it's part of culture, yes, but it's just wrong. And when is somebody going to say, wait a minute, don't say that to your daughter. Like, mm-hmm. Don't do that. Like, that's not right. You don't want her to grow up thinking she's ugly, and then something happens, and then you blaming all these other people around. Like, that's not what you want. Like, stop that. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like we might have to deal with some upfront attitudes from each other, because people don't like being corrected, I guess. I mean, that's just normal. But until people step up, it's going to perpetuate. And I know there's certain aspects of Western culture, like this rise of people just filming like stuff and not calling the police. Like, if somebody could be almost dying and you got your phone out and nobody's like giving CPR, nothing. Like, that type of culture that's starting to rise. It's because like nobody's like, who is this stupid that had the phone on instead of getting down and doing what he had to do. Like, like if we start talking like that, then people are like, oh, I don't want to be the one with the phone not doing nothing. Let somebody else do it. I'll be the one calling. I'll get my 15 minutes of fame from calling the police or calling the ER, doing something, versus just having my phone out and posting videos for likes. Mm-hmm. Like that, and now that's like an artificial culture that's starting to come up, and I've had to like do some real hard measures so that I wouldn't get sucked into that. And even it's hard for me, so I know it's hard for people that don't even see that this is a thing here.
I had a situation similar to that. I was at the gas station and just walking in, pumping, getting my gas or whatever. And I turned around. Well, cute, pretty, beautiful little girl. You know, this beautiful little girl, and I'm real protective over, my girl. And I don't have daughters, but I've always had an infinity for a little girl. And so the young lady was in there. She couldn't have been more than maybe 6, 7 at the most. I'll give her that much. And I'm looking around like, where's her mother? Like, I know that it's a really racist, gas station. I know that, but I had, business to attend to or whatnot. So I go in, I'm, doing whatever I needed to do. And I look around and I'm like, where's her mother? So I look out and the mother is in the vehicle with the windows rolled up, like 3 other adults sitting in the vehicle with her. And she's just sitting in the vehicle with the daughter in the gas station. Oh, honey, I dropped whatever I was doing, and I had like an out-of-body experience. I was fuming. I walked over to her vehicle, and I knocked on her window. Excuse me. And she was like, yes, ma'am. I said, can you please roll your window down? And she said, what's wrong? I said, ma'am, your daughter is all you have in this world. She needs your protection. I said, this is a very racist gas station. I said, and there's a building full of men in there. I said, nobody should be talking to her, being around her. I said, she needs you to protect her. She said, if anything go down, I'm ready. I said, she needs you to be in there next to her ready. She needs you to be in there next to her ready. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I said, we should be more protective over our children, especially our daughters. And she said, wow. I understand. I said, but she's still in the gas station. Oh, here she comes. I said, oh, okay. I said, but make sure that you're with her everywhere that she is so that she knows she has that protection next to her, not sitting outside in the vehicle. She said, yeah, you're right. Okay, well, you have a good day. I had to take 30 minutes to like collect myself because I was fuming. Because my son, I'm that protective over my son. I do not play games when we're out and about. Look here. I know you stay next to me because somebody will steal you and I won't ever see you again. And they're like, what do you mean, Mom? Oh, I'm like that because children do come up missing.
They sure do, especially black ones.
Yeah. Right. Yes, ma'am. This is an epidemic that's going on and we take it for granted that our children know. No, I know. And nobody's gonna steal mine, while I'm present. No. So this little girl is in there, and I was fuming that day. I had to talk to her. Look, lady, roll your window down. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, it's good that she didn't come out of a bag on you.
I came to her properly. I collected myself before I got to her vehicle. I wasn't just in a disarray in front of her, but my inside was boiling over. I let her know that I was serious, but my concerns and my nurturing spirit showed up more so than anger. And that's why she was more perceptive to it. And it's tact. It's all in how you approach a person for them to be open to what you're communicating to them, for them to get the picture. And when she saw that, I was like, look, you got to be her warrior. Basically, she was like, you're right. You're right. You're sure right. Yeah. Like it dawned upon her, like, man, because I'm thinking to myself, what if someone could have came up behind her and put their hand on her shoulder? I instantly thought back to a situation when me and my 2 boys, they were much younger. We were in Walgreens. And a man at the register, really creepy looking guy, really bald in the top, and he's like, oh, children. And my kids like leaned back and like, look, like, mommy, help. And I said, excuse me, step to the side, children. I said, he's like, what school do you guys go to? I said, sir, that's not your business. I said, please do not address my children before you address me. Don't do that. Please don't do that. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I just love kids. I say, I understand. I say, but right is right. Don't address my children before, address me first. And he was like, oh, okay. But that was weird for me, for, a man to just be like, stop what he's doing and just be all enthralled over 2 little boys. Like, no. And we have to have that, understanding that there's some things that are sacred. You're not supposed to talk to children before you talk to the parents. Talk to the adults. I'm on your level. and I need to give you permission to speak to my child, or let you know that it's safe to say something to them, because that's just the order of things, and that's how I see it, and that's how I was raised up. Grown people didn't just walk up to kids like that when I was coming up. They just didn't do that. Yeah. It's like people are so comfortable where I've seen people walk up to children and like want to touch them and grab them and play with them. This is not your child. This is not a universal soul for you to come up and gravitate and rob of whatever you think you need from it. No. And we have to understand that as women, it is our duty to protect the children and stand over them and hover over them to protect them from a lot of things that could affect them, in different ways. And we've lost sight of a lot of that too, because we're the main ones. Oh, let me take this picture of this baby and post it on this site, and let me take, let her put this on, put this makeup on this baby and show her. You're making her grow into something that she's not supposed to be dwelling in right now. That's not her area. She needs to enjoy her natural beauty and grow in that and love on that, and I can say that I was truly fortunate because most of the women in my family growing up all wore the natural hair, whether afro or whatever it was. They always had their hair in natural. It was more or less like, enjoy who you are. We had all different shades, skin tones in our family, of course, and there was that dynamic of this is the better one, or I like this one more because of this or because of that, but for the most part, it was like love on who you are as a person, regardless of what's going on in this household. You need to love on you and naturally how you come and respect that. You have more respect for yourself than you're supposed to have. Even if you don't have it, you need to pull it from somewhere, because when you go out into this world, nobody's going to respect you. And if it's not coming from an organic place from within, you're not going to get it from an artificial place.
Yeah. And I just want to say, go back to something you said about, adults speaking to adults first before they go to the children, and like you don't just walk up to somebody's child and start playing with them or something. And I think that's so important because, children, they trust who their parents trust. You know what I mean? So if somebody comes up to them and just starts talking to them or playing with them or whatever, and their parent is around and they're not stopping it, they're like, oh, okay, I guess it's okay. So they'll engage with the adult. And then that's when you see these videos like on Dateline and everything where parents, where they set up a child to see if they'll get in the car with a stranger or to see if they'll go with the stranger. And, their parents are looking, and their parents are, off in a secret room or something watching their child. And the kids take the bait every time. And then the parent will say, well, I told them not to talk to strangers and not to get in the car with strangers.
You
didn't show them. Right. You're not showing them. So like you said, adults, like, look, you greet me or talk to me first before you just go in, and hugging and kissing on my child or trying to play with my child or something like that. That may happen in a close community where everybody is known and, where we have already introduced ourselves and everybody knows everybody. But just strangers off the street in a store or something like that, like that's a direct violation. That's like a huge no-no. And if you don't step in and say, wait a minute, excuse me, I'm standing here, I'm standing here. It's like your child doesn't know that that's not appropriate. So then they'll do that with other adults. And then, like you said, next thing you know, they come up missing or something happens to them.
Especially if you have one of them kids that love to talk to everybody, like my son.
Yes. Yeah. If you got a chatty one, yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up. That's so important. That's so important. Yeah. Okay, so we are actually have gone over time just a little bit. If you're on the line and you still have something that you'd like to say, or you have a comment that you'd like to make sure you press one. Um, just to all the ladies that are on the phone, again, thank you for calling in and thank you for sharing. And I'm glad that the conversation has, turned out like it has because, like I said, I think a lot of people may have thought that this was going to turn into like a cat fight or something. Because before it was a ooh, but like I said, it's not even like that. And like I said, once you become vulnerable and you open up to a person and you sit down and talk to them, like you'll start to see that, especially just as Black women in this country, a lot of the problems and stuff that we all have. We're not that many generations from slavery or from, just that kind of culture. Our families being infiltrated by that type of culture. So a lot of the problems we have are very similar. A lot of them. We're all dealing with some very similar issues. And so, to just be open with another woman and say, you know what, I've dealt with that too. This is how I got over it. It's so important. It's so important. Don't make the next woman feel like, well, I got over it. Why can't you? There's something wrong with you that you can't get over it. Like, don't make them feel that way because they may not have the family support or the love or whatever it is. They may not have the same set of situations that you had to help you get over it. So talk to them and tell them how you got over it. Tell them how you worked through it, or everybody didn't have that. Some people grew up without parents. Some people don't have grandparents. Some people didn't have loving parents or a mother that hugged them or told them, whatever it is. But you didn't get to be that confident, strong woman, whatever it is, on your own. Not growing up in this culture, you didn't. So share with somebody about how you got over it and how you dealt with it, and let them know, it's a result of this. It's a result of that. It's not like don't make them feel like there's some type of bad luck accident or just some type of anomaly that like it's something wrong with you that you can't get it together.
And that will require for us to come out of our ego once again, because we all feel like we need something or someone to stand on in order to validate ourselves or to make us feel like we have arrived. And that's fake as well, because like, someone came in and, he said, us with our tongue lashing and whatnot, like you said, waiting, thinking that we were going to, be catty. And the whole entire time she was talking about, how she felt and she didn't know how to, be that or show that. I was like, oh, I had my phone on mute, but I was like, oh, honey, that type of thing. This environment that we are sharing right now, oh my God, it needs to be expounded upon greatly, because there are a lot of women who feel this way. And some women, need a community in order to develop that, because some of them have that in them and they just, oh, well, my environment requires for me to watch, Atlanta Housewives or R&B, this or whatever chaos is on TV, or be around a lot of catty women. They don't want to do that, but they feel like they have to, conform in order to fit in, because, somebody might ridicule them for, oh, she's sensitive, or she too soft, or, oh, you all in your feelings and you too emotional. Okay, I'm a woman. I'm supposed to be all of those things. What? I don't understand. Who am I supposed to be? I'm not a man. I don't want to be a man. I enjoy being a woman. I want to be taught how to be more of a woman. I welcome my femininity, and, I know I need to have that masculine balance, but being a woman is a beautiful thing, and that's who I am, and that's what I want to stand in this present moment. And we need a lot more, young ladies, older ladies, little ladies, who are ready to push forward and do this thing that we have done today. I love it. I mean, I've been calling for this thing. Oh, you just don't know. I had a community of ladies that I can talk to. Oh God, I got to move back to Atlanta because I know my family in Atlanta, or maybe I need to move back to Florida. That type of thing was like, no, I don't. I can have that right here where I am, and it's gonna come. I just need to be patient and know that it's coming. Yeah. And I thank you for coming. I thank you for just being available, having the mindset to develop this. I thank the women who ran to, call and make time and space in their life, because life is real hectic right now and people don't have a lot of time for anything. I'm at work right now. I made time for this today. I said, no, I'm making time for this. If I gotta be on break half the day.
We're definitely glad that you did make time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your participation. Desperately needed. Like you said, it can be really lonely, especially like you said, some women or some young girls do grow up in that environment where all the women are dysfunctional and you're the oddball. And it's like, if you don't act like this, then you get your support is even less. You know what I mean? You really feel alone. And so that is one good thing about technology and social media. Now we can kind of, the distance isn't so much a problem, that we can reach out and create these little communities and talk to each other and meet each other, because for a long time, I just didn't think it existed. You know what I mean? I was just like, I guess I'll just stay in my little bubble. You know what I mean? Like, because none of the women that I was around really showed that this is what they wanted. And I'm talking, family included. Like, I'm looking at these women, I'm like, okay, everybody is kind of lonely. Everybody is kind of cold and a little lonely. And it's obvious that this is what's needed, but nobody is taking a step forward to do it. And I don't know, sometimes it just takes that one woman. Usually that's like that's like the oldest sister or something like that. You know what I mean? That kind of keeps everybody in check, and that just kind of, cuts out all the nonsense. If you're lucky, you have that one. You know what I mean? And then sometimes when they pass, or if they're no longer, around, everything just falls apart. But, again, like we have platforms like this, or like the women's group on Monday, or whatever it is, that we can kind of find each other now and really kind of just breathe. You know what I mean? It's like this whole conversation has just been a big hug.
Through you speaking, I just realized why I've been emotional.
Why is that?
I have been emotional because of the fact that my grandmother just recently passed away, and my grandfather died, passed away last year. Oh, it's okay, but thank you. She's I was looking for and yearning for this type of environment, and kept looking, not speaking about it, just in my mind and, inside of myself, wanting it and trying my best to manifest it. And even if I had to manufacture it myself, I was on that journey, but I felt like I was crawling or just trying my best to climb up a steep hill. And it was like, that type of thing. And it's like, when she passed away, that feeling became even stronger. It was like, oh my God. I called my aunt, her oldest daughter, and I was like, oh my God, I miss my grandmother. I said I just wanted to hear her, because I was like, I think I'm going to bake this kind of cake. I said, I'm going to call grandma. She's not even here. Yeah. So, and I called my aunt, and she's like, don't be worried about it. She's still around and blah, blah, blah. So, how to, manifest her energy and stuff like that, because she's really awesome. And I said, yeah, I remember those tools. She said, well, go ahead and use them. And I said, okay. And just that whole thing, that's what had me emotional, because with some of the women, like I said, we had problems in trying to push into this, but some of the problems would be like them wanting it, but not knowing
how to do
it, or how to. It was like kind of like, and I'm going to.
Who's gonna make the first move?
This example may be, weird, but I'm this came to mind in order for me to express to you.
Okay.
Me trying to teach them how to ride a bike with training wheels. And it's like, yeah, but all along you've been riding next to me on a big wheel bike, the big bike with me, expressing to me that you knew how to do this, but now that it's time to do the work, I'm back in infancy again, and I'm a toddler, and I need you to help me with my training wheels, but I don't want you to help me with my training wheels, because I know how to do it. I know how to do it. It's like, and it's like, it's been affecting me emotionally, because I want it so bad, and it's like, I had to just take a seat back and sit back inside of myself and say, hey, you can't force it. You got to just, feed it a little bit at a time, and it'll come. And when I did that, that's when I got the information to call this number. And it was, I didn't know that I didn't know we were going to discuss this today. I had no clue. I just wanted
How'd you find out?
Well, it was on the Sadulu House.
Okay.
I had went on that website or whatever, because I'm doing the prereqs for the class or whatnot. And I said, oh my God, let me put this in my phone. This would be great. So I'm listening today, and I was like, whoa, oh my God, thank you so much, universe. Appreciate you.
Yeah. You know what? Even
for making me aware of that. Thank you. Oh my God.
No problem. You're welcome. Even as you're talking, like, I'm tearing up, because
good.
It's like,
we need that. We need to cleanse this earth and put our tears into the ground and fertilize this new ground. We need to do that. We need to let our tears flow. And like I said, Saturday is going to be in an abundance, baby. This ground is going to be flourishing. It's going to be springtime on Sunday. After I finish crying, I'm going to let it roll.
It's like, it's needed so badly. It's needed so badly. Even, just young women, or just, women going, being in relationships or going through relationships, you still need that woman. Like, a lot of times when women, get married, or if they're with a man, it's like they close themselves off from other women. And that man is just the sole focus. And you lose so much of yourself in doing that when you cut yourself off from other women, because little do you know, like, you still need that. You need those women so much, and not just to come to them when things are going bad. You know what I mean? To try to get advice or whatever, but to have that constant support and love. Like I said, this whole conversation just almost feels like a big hug. I wish I could just reach out and hug everybody. But it's like, I'm sorry. It's just so needed. It's just needed so badly.
I'm going to take you back to what you said. When I was growing up, the women would be at home, grandmother, everybody's getting their, side dishes and everything together, while the men would be out hunting for meat. Yeah. My grandfather was a great hunter. He would hunt and he would fish, and he'd take the boys with him, come back, be outside, they'd clean the meat, or they, clean the fish and gut them and everything. And they bring the food in the house, and then grandma and, the rest of the women, we would take it over from there. And
Right.
it's just that type of environment where they had a chance to go out and hunt and be warriors, and the women would be in the house and be in their own warriors in the sense.
Own world.
And that balance, yeah, they'd be in their own world. You know, and when it came time to, you know, have dinner, everybody would come together that way.
Right.
But it was always that balance and that unity, and it's like with everybody growing older and, you know, having their life and their children and this and that, it's like we grow apart, but we're still connected a little bit, but we're not connected how we used to be. And it's like you gotta build that and make it happen again, because I told my family, look here, we gotta do this, you know, and we've been on a roll. We've been doing really good. We got like this group text on everybody's phone where we, you know, talk to each other, say good night, good morning, hey, how you doing? Just little different stuff.
Nice.
What? Yeah. Okay, we're gonna all get together. Who's cooking what? Who's doing what? Okay, we're going to meet at somebody's house and we're gonna all cook it at your house, or what we're gonna do? And it'll be like, okay, well, look, if y'all can't get it together, this will be me. You make this, you make that. You're good at this. This is how it's gonna be, and this is how we're gonna do it at. Okay, cool. Let's go with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That's beautiful. Wow.
I'm enjoying myself for the first time in a long time. I can say that I'm really enjoying myself. It took a long time. It's been hell and high water, but it has truly been an exciting journey, and I'm ready to see more beautiful things, because we've been through enough hurt and pain and suffering.
Yes. All right, Sister Lola, Sister Michelle, y'all still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Sister Michelle, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here, Sister.
Okay. All right. I was just gonna see if you all had any last words. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. We're about 30 minutes over now, so I don't know how long, you know, after the Blog Talk Show is scheduled, you know, it goes before we get cut off. But Michelle, did you have anything you'd like to add?
I just wanted to give thanks to the sisters that joined us in the call today. It was very, very healing for myself, and I know for everybody on the call and listening. And I just want to show my gratitude, and that I really look forward to building with everybody on Monday.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you.
All right.
Peace, everyone.
And for Sister Marissa, I think she's still on the line. Let me bring her back in real quick. Let me see here. Are you still there, Marissa? 864?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. I just wanted to let you know I did get your email. Okay. So I'll be sending you that link. Did you have any last comments that you wanted to share?
I just want to say thank you, and the sister that you were just speaking with, y'all hit it right on the head for me. You like really made me realize that it's not that, it really is, it's the women around that I feel that I can't talk to. They keep me from talking. Because I've really actually tried, and some of them have even been older, because as a child, I tried so hard to love my mother, and she always rejected me. Like, even to the point where she would tell us that she was going to get rid of us, and when we come home from school, our bags going to be packed.
Wow.
And we were going to be gone. But my mom, she has mental issues, and now that I'm an adult, I understand, and I forgive her, and I love my mom. I always love my mama, but it still didn't change the fact that it hurt me when I was a child.
Yeah.
My mother would always reject me. And I realized it affected me with my relationship with women in general. And now as an adult, I'm 30 years old now, and it's like I realize I'm an adult, but somewhere inside there's still this little girl who's looking for a woman to show me the way. And the women around, you know, some of them are Christians, so they try to make you go to church, or you know, some of them are still petty. You feel older than them sometimes when you're talking, and so you feel like you have no one. And so I just feel alone. And I've been looking for some people, women that I can talk to who actually are trying to be positive, not, you know, actually are trying to be together as women and not outdo each other. And because I'm not about that. but I'm surrounded by that, and it makes me
Mhm.
say to myself that much more.
Right.
And I just thank y'all. Like, thank y'all.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're
Thank
more than
you.
welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. So I got your email, and I will send you that link so you can be with us on Monday. But that's gonna wrap up this show. I want to again just say thank you to all the women that reached out. Thank you, Sister Lola, for calling in, Michelle, everybody who participated on this call. It has been really sobering and so needed. Thank you for helping me get through my day a little bit easier. Yeah. So we will be back next Tuesday with another topic. And for those on the call, women who are listening who did not, raise your hand and call, make sure you reach out to join the women's call on Monday. And I look forward to speaking with you all then and on Tuesday on this show. Okay, so enjoy your day. Peace.